Thanks so much, brother. Really appreciate your coming on.
Oh man, listen, my pleasure. I don't have video. Why don't I have video? Oh, there we
There you
go.
go.
There you go. Awesome. I know you cut your hair, and I wanted to shave my head. I really did. And my head looks incredibly weird as a shaved person, so my wife didn't let me. So I cut my own hair, and I was telling you earlier, it looks good from far, but it's far from good. Like it's actually not that bad.
It's not that bad. Just don't.
No, it's not that bad.
No. From far, it's not that bad at all. But it is interesting how many hairs left, and then this is not aligned at all. But it's you know what, not bad for a pandemic haircut.
You know what's really cool about that? So I did like my hair gets really weird. So like I get long, like curly hair around here, and then like fine hair up top. So like if my hair grows long, I look terrible. So early on, I did the buzz cut, and I did like hashtag Corona cut. So I said, if you're struggling with your hair, buzz it off, donate $25 to your local food bank, and post a picture of you with hashtag Corona cut. Man, did that ever catch on?
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I've seen a couple of those things run around online, and that's incredible. You know what? The more good that we can do now, the better it's going to be. I'm going to share my screen real quick, Anthony, just to give our clients a quick update on a few things that we're doing. I know we have about 43 people on now, and have we already streamed to the AL clients group?
It is working on it. It is just thinking and thinking and thinking. So
Zoom sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
Anything that's a live stream right now has become very, very difficult.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's, you know what, last time you did your stream with another software, how'd that go?
It went okay. The issue I ran into, so that was StreamYard.
Okay.
The issue I ran into that one is you have to like click on the link and accept their terms and conditions and write in a screen. So anyone that's watching it live on Facebook, before they can like view it or comment on it, they have to click on their terms and conditions and type a screen name. So like all these people were saying that they couldn't log in, they couldn't see it, they couldn't comment, and that was why.
So tech issues from that perspective makes sense. Yeah. That's sometimes, and you know what, Zoom, people are so used to Zoom, and I know from a security perspective, they've been working on fixing a lot of the security issues that they've been having. I know they haven't fixed them all, and but I think the majority of the bigger issues they have fixed. And what's interesting is Zoom stock has actually gone up significantly. I don't know if you guys follow the Zoom stock color. Yeah, killer. And Tesla stock, oh my God, wow! I don't know if you guys are following that one. Crazy times.
I'll tell you what I think a good buy is right now. So TD and RBC shares are both, I think those are both real good places to put money.
Yeah, for sure. And anytime you have a organization like that, an institution like that really fall that much, they're going to come back. I mean, it's part of the economy. All right, so I'll get into it. It's 1 o'clock. So quick update for our clients. Number one, tech check. Let's just make sure everybody can hear us. If you just do a quick chat, say yes in the chat, you can hear us. I'd really appreciate that, just so we can see who's here. We'll name out some people. Lisa, thank you. Mitzi, thank you. Roman, awesome. Sylvia, Ed, wonderful. Good stuff. So first and foremost, we have Anthony with us, and Anthony is somebody who I've known for a while. I've listened to him speak live. I hope we get a chance to do that again soon, if at all possible.
Who knows when?
Yeah, and this is what Anthony looks like with hair, and this is what he looks like without hair. I actually want to get you guys' input into something, especially now that we have you on. So I posted this question on our in 22 hours ago on our AgentLocator clients group, and the question is, I've been trying to figure out how to feed you guys information about all the mortgage deferrals that are happening so that you can feed your clients that information. So what we're actually thinking about doing is similar to how we created the COVID-19 landing page. So, how is COVID-19 affecting house prices? So similar to how we created this one, what we want to do is create one specific to the mortgage deferrals so that we can actually feed the client's information about what really happens with mortgage deferrals. So first, let's say what we're going to do is get them to give us, what monthly payment they're currently making, what their remaining amortization is, what their interest rate is, so we can tell them how much additional interest they're going to incur by doing the deferral. And I think that there's a lot of agents, correct me if I'm wrong, that don't fully understand it, because honestly, I don't fully understand how this whole deferral thing works, because there's so much information. In fact, when I was gathering it, this was all the information I put together, and there's a lot of stuff. So for those of you, and Anthony, I can share this with you. In fact, I don't know if you're part of this group. We'll add you in here just so you can kind of see it as well. I know you're trying to take a peek at. For those of you, I'm wondering how many of you would actually find this beneficial? So how many of you would you actually send this to your clients if we spend the time on it to create like a calculator to show people how much of an extra payment they're going to have, how much money they're going to have to spend more, so that you can actually shoot it off to your clients as a landing page so that you can actually create some value. So list it out, yes, 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 yes. And if those of you say no, please say no as well so we can know who's for it and who's not for it. So the other thing that I'm doing is I'm trying for the next session that we have this Thursday is I'm looking for somebody who really understands mortgages really well and understands this deferral thing really well, so we can get them on a webinar just like this for next Thursday so they can explain it to me, they can explain it to you, you can ask questions as well that, that questions that I haven't asked. So that is awesome. I see a lot of yeses. Andrew, Eric, thank you. Roman, appreciate it. Sheen, Ellie, Joe, awesome, 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 good stuff. So a lot of yeses, and that gives me enough yeses for me to, take the time for our staff, spend the time on this to create what it is that wants to create. Thank you, Anthony. So you might have someone for the mortgage thing, which is awesome. Really appreciate that. Okay. That is honestly all I wanted to kind of ask you guys. I'd love to get as much as we can from Anthony as well. I know, in a time like this, we've had clients who've transacted. We've seen on a lot of groups, a lot of issues with people having when it comes to people transacting. We all have to understand that there's people that have to buy and there's people that have to sell in this market. There's a reason why they've made the real estate an essential service in Canada. There's a reason why in California they made it to be not essential, and then they changed it to be essential. So there's obviously a need for this. So what I'd love to do is find out for, the Anthony has done transactions in this market, and I'd love to kind of get him to share with us what he's done and what's the process like, Anthony. So what, in these scenarios, what I'd love to do is kind of have a conversation back and forth. We'll open it up to our clients as well, but maybe, can you share with us some of the things? I don't know if you have a screen share, I can stop sharing my screen. In fact, I can stop sharing the screen altogether so we can see our heads better. Stop share. There we go. So I think the first question for you, Anthony, would be, what are some of the precautions you're taking right now when you're going out to transact, and maybe you can share some of that with us.
Sure, and I mean we've been busy. I think it's important to kind of differentiate. So real estate services have been deemed an essential service, but we're a unique industry in that I don't feel like we're essential for everyone. I think there's a big difference between, like Joe and Sally Smith that are thinking about selling their house whenever they can get top dollar. They don't really have to move, versus, buyers, another set of buyers that are, their apartments, they're out of their apartment next month. They need a house, they need something. They're going to be homeless. I think there's a big difference between need and want. And the first thing I'll say is my team, so it's not just me, I have a great team here. We're not going out and servicing every single person that calls us right now. Right. We have a very diligent screening process. Are you pre-approved for financing? I'm not putting any of my agents at risk to go show a house unless someone is 100% pre-approved. Do you absolutely need to move is another thing that is so crucial. Do you need to list your house right now? Because if not, let's stay in touch. Let's watch the market. And when it's a little bit safer for the team, for you, for buyers, let's list it then. So I think that's an important thing to differentiate. And I'll get into our screening process a little bit more. So we have a COVID-19 waiver that we're sending to people. So they need to sign off on a legal document that they haven't traveled outside the province in the last 14 days.
Okay.
They haven't been in contact with anyone that has been feeling unwell. They haven't felt unwell. There's 4 or 5 check boxes that they'll have to acknowledge and sign off on this document. We're also saying that, so for our listings, whenever an agent is going to take a buyer through one of our listings to better protect our sellers, we're sending that form to both the buyer's agent and the buyer to do a COVID-19 disclosure form.
Are you doing like a digital checkbox, digital signatures? Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all electric. I mean, listen, man, I've been electronic signatures for years now. I don't even want to think about what real estate was like before electronic signatures. For anyone out there that was back in the days where you get changed out of your sweatpants, back into your suit, run out at 9 o'clock to get an amendment signed, and then run back home and get changed back into your sweatpants. Like, no thanks.
I can imagine life. I can imagine the life of an agent at that point. How many of you, just for curiosity, how many of you have actually been in real estate long enough where you've done things that Anthony's talking about? Just raise a hand, say yes in the chat. It's always nice to see 17 years with Roy. That's incredible. Yes, Steve. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to hear, because I've sat down. I remember I sat down with Roy LePage, broker of record, 8 years ago, I think, when I started this company. And he was telling me stories, because he's been in real estate, for 28 years now, because he was talking about real estate for 20 years ago from that point. It was Peter Campoli. I don't know if you guys, for those of you that are maybe even in his office, he was, the stories that he's fed me from way back when. Oh my God, it's such an interesting time. Before listings were accessible online, and there was a book of listings, so you would have to physically, the MLS book. You'd have to physically go into the office and see what's available on the MLS. And imagine the print time, right? So imagine a home comes on the market. I got to print the book. I got to get it distributed to all the people. So imagine the lag time from point of listing it to actually getting people to look at it. My God.
And I think like elaborating on the screening process a little bit more, we've really dialed in on our buyer pre-qualification process. I'm like many people, if I had a buyer that said they wanted to go see 12 homes on a Wednesday afternoon, I probably would have gone with them and booked 12 showings and gone and looked at 12 homes. What we're doing now is we're booking a Zoom call. So once we've established that you have to buy, once we've established that you haven't been in contact with anyone, you're feeling well, you haven't traveled, and that you're pre-approved, we're actually booking a Zoom call. And I'm going through the listings. I'm sharing my
reviewing
screen.
them. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sharing my screen with the buyers on a Zoom call, and we're doing the virtual tours. We're going through the pictures of the home together, and I'm giving my critical feedback. Like same as I would if we were in the house together.
Of course.
And we're trying to narrow that list down from, instead of going to look at 12 homes and putting myself, my family, the buyer's family, and all the sellers at risk. Because the reality of the situation is that whenever you go and you interact with someone, there's a risk associated with that. Now, sometimes there's a higher risk, sometimes there's a lower risk. But if there's 7 or 8 homes that they're never going to buy anyway, we can eliminate those on a half-hour Zoom call or a 20-minute Zoom call.
Based on your feedback. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something like, I think that's a really good thing for our industry. So I think a lot of good things are going to come out of COVID-19 for the real estate industry as a whole. I think that we've always been far too accessible to the client. I think that we have professional practice, but it's very client driven versus professional driven.
Right.
So I think a lot of positive things will come out of this. We've really started prepping our sellers. So before every showing, we make sure that there's gloves, alcohol wipes and hand sanitizer at the front door.
Right.
We want them to open up the cover to the electrical panel. We all want them to open up all the showers. We want them to open up every interior door, every closet door, turn on every light switch. So pretty much anything that a buyer or a buyer's agent would have to touch during the tour of their home, we're trying to get the seller to prep that before anyone walks in the front door.
Makes sense.
Inspections is a big one. So inspections is something, the inspector touches a lot of stuff in a house. No matter how prepared the house is, the inspector is going to be there, opening things, closing things, prodding at things, poking at things, inspecting the home. So inspections, we've asked our seller, so if the buyer is doing an inspection on one of our listings, we're asking that they sanitize the house completely before they leave. So wipe down every surface, wipe down anything that could have been touched or coughed on or sneezed on. And then we're asking the home inspector, and by the way, home inspectors here have been really good about this, but post-inspection, we're putting the onus on the home inspector to wipe down everything that they've touched during the inspection process. So that's a big one.
So you could also have the home inspector really prep to say that, you know what, before I walk in, I'm going to make sure that I have brand new, not shoes, but those covers for the shoes, or, brand new gloves. So every time I'm really not, or maybe even a mask to put on. So that way he's actually sanitized before he comes in or she comes in to actually do the inspection. So that way from that perspective, it could be inspected as well or safeguarded.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of things that you won't think of until you're in the situation. Like I did an inspection the other day. They had a pool house. I would have never thought to ask them to open up the pool house and have everything in the pool house ready for us to look at.
Right.
But if you kind of look at it from the end point and you work backwards, you can really eliminate a lot of these problems before they actually arise. So I would encourage anyone that's listening, that's out there, that's still practicing their business, to really think about every situation. Think about the risk associated with everything they're going to touch, everything that they're going to do, everything that their clients are going to touch, everything that their clients are going to do, and so on all the way down the line. To really, again, it's all about risk, mitigating the risk. So as little risk as possible is what we're trying to do. Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Another thing, so I mentioned that I have a team. So we're really trying to limit our face-to-face interactions with the team. So I mean, it's been hard on me. I have someone that pretty much runs my life when it comes to real estate stuff, Leanna. And I haven't seen her, I haven't been in the same office or the same room as her in 4 weeks now. And it was a little bit of a struggle starting out, but we're doing kind of a weekly touch base with the entire team. I'm trying to do a daily powwow around 8:30 in the morning on Zoom with all of my admin staff. I'm really trying to keep everyone in the loop,
right?
Engage with everyone on the team, make sure that they have the support that they need, but do it in a very different way. And, people can do that. I still think we need to be talking to our clients. If we have sellers, we still need to be giving them our market updates. We still need to be giving them feedback from showings. If we have buyers, we still need to be letting them know about properties that meet their criteria. None of that stuff changes about the way we run our businesses. What changes is I think how we do it.
Makes a lot of sense, and I think from a conversation perspective, we've actually talked in the last few events that we've done, and we'll touch a little bit on internet leads as well, because I know you're an internet lead as well. The conversation that you're having with people who are currently coming in from your internet lead generation. One of the things that we've seen with our clients is obviously they're not going out and immediately, converting these people into leads. That's never been the case even prior to this. But they're able to connect with these leads at a much deeper level because of the, issue that we have, which is a similar issue, and we're connecting on that issue. Are you finding the same thing from the internet leads perspective?
Oh man, listen, our online leads right now are off the charts. So I think this is all of your clients, right? So everyone on here is kind of an AgentLocator client.
Yes,
guys, now's not the time to take your foot off the gas when it comes with online leads. Now's the time to push down on the gas. Our cost per lead right now, and you probably know more about this than I do, but our cost per lead right now is down. Leads are so cheap, and we have so much time to follow up with them. If we were out showing 12 homes a day or doing 3 listing presentations every day, 5 or 6 days a week, you don't always have the time to follow up with the leads. But right now, a lot of people are working from home.
Yep.
We're not taking as many face-to-face client meetings. Things are being run a little bit more efficiently, I would say. There's so much more time to qualify leads, contact leads, make that initial contact. The issue that we're seeing is there's not a lot of people, almost no one, that wants to look at a house tomorrow.
Right.
So a lot of times you'd be calling your online leads, you'd be converting them and trying to book showings, book a face-to-face appointment with them. Now it's more about feeding the pipeline for like June, July, August. That's kind of what I'm getting my team to focus on, is putting those people in the funnel and then making sure you're communicating with them effectively. Make sure they're getting the information that's relevant to them to
Right.
keep them engaged, because the challenge is going to be keeping all of these new online leads engaged between now and June, July, August, September, whenever it is. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's really staying in touch and making sure that you're providing valuable information in terms of, what is it that they need at that moment, and really engaging and finding out, where they really stand. I mean, why are they looking right now? That's the number one reason. Are they looking from a curiosity perspective because they're considering maybe they're going to have to sell because they're both laid off? Really digging deep and finding out what is the conversation and what is the situation of that individual, and then were they looking prior to this and wanted to buy, and now are they thinking, is the market going to go down, and when are they going to come in? So I think just being there for them and not BSing about it, but really saying, I truly don't have the magic answer, but as we follow the market, we'll see what's going to happen, and I'll provide you with all the proper guidelines in terms of when to come into the market and when not. For anybody that from a lead perspective, if you're not getting enough leads, if you stop leads, if you want to continue leads, support at agentlocator.ca is your best source. We can figure out exactly whether your count of leads has gone down or gone up. A cost per lead, we actually did a talk about this a couple of weeks ago. Cost per lead went down anywhere from $2 to $7 per lead on average per area. Different markets, different areas. Some areas are a little bit more competitive than others. Some areas have a little bit of a higher cost per lead than others. So that's always a variant of things. And then I also talked about the Google credit, that Google is looking to give out a credit to some of the people as well. And anybody that wants to learn more about that, they can actually go on to the Agent Locator. We did talk about that as well. Awesome, Anthony. I would love to have, if clients have any questions about transacting in this market, what else have you guys thought of that maybe Anthony hadn't shared yet? Is there any struggles that you're currently going through when it comes to transacting? For example, one question, I know agents have asked this question in forums, and they say their client is asking them, they were thinking about selling just before this whole thing happened. They wanted to get the property out in April, and obviously, things changed. And their client is asking them, is this the right time to list? Does it make sense that, are we gonna, if I wait this out, will I be able to get the same amount of money that I'm looking to get down the road? How are you kind of answering those tough questions that they don't have to necessarily sell. They're not in a position where they have to sell. They wanted to sell because they wanted to buy something else. But they're worried that the price is going to go down as this goes on more and more.
And that's really interesting. So one thing that we've been doing is we've been doing kind of weekly market updates for people, kind of following the hot sheet tracker, watching listings, watching pending sales, watching solds. It's interesting because a lot of people that aren't in the business don't understand how the supply demand economics of real estate works. So I'll speak quickly about the Halifax market. So right now the Halifax market has slowed down, but listings and sales have come down proportionately to each other. So that our market's not going to change. Pricing's not going to change. Our months of inventory won't change.
Right.
But people don't realize that. People see the market slowing down, less listings, less sales. They don't know that indicates no change in months of inventory, right, which deems the kind of market we're in, which deems basically essentially the price. If listings drop quicker than sales, then we're going to move into a little bit of a seller's market, and prices should, in theory, go up. If sales right. drop quicker than listings, months of inventory will go up and prices will fall down a little bit.
Right.
But the general public doesn't know that. They don't follow the stats. They don't know how the supply-demand economics works in real estate. So a great thing to do is track your weekly hot sheets, watch the listings, watch the sales, watch the conditional pendings, and do a really quick video. You right. can do it live or you can record it on what the market's doing. It's impossible, man. It's impossible to predict what the market's going to do.
Yeah.
With COVID-19, I do think we're going to see a quick decline, a pretty steep decline, I think, and this is kind of across the country. I think we're going to have a short term at the bottom. I don't think we're going into a huge economic recession here. Our economy was too strong going into this. I think we're going to see a pretty short stint at the bottom, and then I think we're going to see a really steep incline again on the other side. You know, people are comparing this to the market crash in '08. We were in a completely different economic position as a country going into the market crash in '08. I think we're strong. I think we're going to handle this well. And like I said, across the country, from a national perspective, it's going to be a steep decline, a little bit at the bottom, and then a steep climb back up.
Now, do you generally get into those discussions with the clients, or do you just, give them the data that we currently have, and this is what we go off of? We're not going to really be giving you a projection where we think it's going to go or may not go. Are you getting into these discussions with your clients at all, or you're giving just the main info that you currently have?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm not. I've never been shy about sharing my opinion. What I kind of preface that with is, listen, I'm pretty educated when it comes to the economic position of our country right now. I've read a lot about this. I've had a lot of knowledgeable people that have been sharing information with me. Yep. No one can predict the future. Here's my opinion. I can give you the factual aspects of what's currently happening, and here's my opinion. Very different.
Right. Makes sense. Yep.
The factual data of what's happening now versus my opinion of what's coming.
Yep. Makes sense. No,
but people need that from us. We're professionals. We're professionals in this industry. People need that from us.
Definitely appreciate that very much. We have one question from Tammy. So anybody else that might have a question for Anthony and wants to ask Anthony a question, this is your time. You could use the questions and answers part of the software, and I'll read out the question. And we can, so everybody knows. I don't think everybody sees these questions, do they, Crystal?
Yeah, I believe they can.
Yeah, if you click the Q&A at the bottom, you can.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody can see the Q&A. If you go to Q&A, you can see the question. Anthony, you see the question as well. So yeah. The question is, I have a closing of selling and buying in June 1st. It's a firm deal. My client is worried and asking, what will happen? Will the situation affect the closing of our transaction? What would you be the best way to answer her when I don't have a clue on how things progress with COVID-19?
That's a great question. And I mean, the reality of the situation is some deals aren't going to close. Some people are going to get laid off. Some people are going to lose income. We had one, the buyer was taking money from their RRSPs as part of their down payment. All of a sudden, their RRSPs were worth 26% less than they were worth, a month ago. So that's a really tough one. I would say, offer your opinion. Say, like, listen, this is my opinion. I think that things are still going to progress well. As long as you still have a job, as long as nothing changes on your debt servicing ratio, there's nothing that a lender can do. So once a lender's signed off on a deal, as long as all the conditions on that deal are met, they'll advance the funds. What changes that is if one of those checkpoints, or if your credit score, if your GDS, your TDS, if any of those things change, then there might be a situation where you can't close. But I mean, the reality of the situation was that was the way it always was. If you went out between firm date and closing date and bought a brand new truck and blew 70 grand on a truck, and all of a sudden your GDS is off the charts, the lender was never going to advance the funds this time last year for that.
Right.
So it's become a little bit easier for those things not to get checked off or not to be done.
Do you see that happening more? And from our clients that are on, we have 111 people on right now. And Crystal, were we able to stream on to Facebook?
Nope.
We weren't.
I just posted an update. So if
yeah,
they wanted
and
to
we'll upload it later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to try to stream? I can't. I'm not the host.
You might not be able to. Yeah. You know what? We're into it now. We'll post it that way. Yeah, it's cool. I'm wondering from everybody who's had transactions that were supposed to kind of happen in March, April. What's happened to them? Have you had transactions that have fallen apart because of funding, because banks pulling back? Anybody who's had this happen to them, if you just say yes. Just kind of get a sense of what % of transactions currently are really going through this, and what percent of people are really going through this problem that we have. Is it a big issue? Is it a small issue where some people are going to have this problem and some people might not be, and we can kind of gauge it? Have you had any of these instances come up, Anthony?
I would say we've had more, historically less than 1% of our deals wouldn't close.
Okay,
now
but
Now I'd say we're like probably 1.5%, 2%. Like it's not a dramatic change.
Right.
But again, it's situational. If someone gets laid off, if someone all of a sudden doesn't have the same income, if someone all of a sudden doesn't have the same investment portfolio, it can change. Like I'm not saying that it wouldn't change, but for us, we haven't seen a whole lot of that yet.
Okay, awesome. So we answered that one live. We'll check it off. We have a question from Moeen. What to do to show a tenanted property only once after an offer has been accepted, conditional on or satisfactory buyer showing without jeopardizing tenants' safety concerns?
So that's a good one. So anytime if there's a seller that's high risk, so there's a lot of people out there that are high risk, right? They're elderly, they have other pre-existing health conditions, they have an infant at home, like all these things are adding on to it. If we were in a situation like that, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to write a deal first, and also for tenanted properties. Tenants are a little bit trickier right now, but we want to see a deal because we want to know that we can agree on price before they get in the home. So we're writing a deal conditional on viewing. Okay. We've done that twice. We've done that twice so far.
And it's been accepted. So deal conditional on viewing, and it's been accepted. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. For those of you that are wondering that's definitely great. I know of a couple of scenarios where agents have actually done deals without even showing it all. So an offer was put in to buy the property outright without even looking at the property. Obviously, the person went around, looked at the home, but never went inside. And I know a few agents that have actually done that. I don't know. Have you had that deal like that yet, Anthony, where no viewing at all?
Not without viewing at all. So we've had one that we did just based on a 3D virtual tour viewing. Okay. So we viewed the house with a 3D tour. They didn't actually go in until the home inspection. But you know what? Like, there's a lot of great companies out there that are doing a fantastic job of the 3D virtual tours. Like, they're doing a great job of that. You can walk through and really get a good idea of the home, enough to know whether or not you're interested in buying it and what price you want to buy it at.
Right.
And then again, conditional on the viewing and the home inspection.
Okay. We have Ellie, so it's a little bit of a different question. Can you talk more about the tenants who are not paying their rent? What are the rights of landlords and questions to ask for tenants? I'm not sure if you're well-versed into this, Anthony, or not. This could be a different discussion for topic. Yeah.
I am in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
I am in Nova Scotia, not honestly not in other provinces. I know in Nova Scotia right now, the tenants pretty much have all of the power. Yeah. So if a tenant doesn't pay rent right now, you cannot file to evict them.
Right.
I kind of had the flip side. So I own rental properties here, and we had called the bank that has all of our mortgages on our rental properties to defer the mortgage payments so that we could give our tenants a break on rent. They said, yeah, no problem. Put everything through. I didn't charge my tenants the full amount of rent, and then all the mortgage payments came out the next day. So I got kind of shafted the other way.
Yikes!
It wasn't a good morning to wake up and look at your online banking that day.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one for sure. You try to do something that's. We have Eric Eaton, Anthony. Other than market updates, what would your marketing message be in COVID-19 market, and how would you go about marketing it? Thanks for your insights.
Great question, Eric. So that's a tricky one. I don't think that we need to be marketing right now. I think we need to change our paradigm, change our mindset about how we communicate with people. I think it's a mistake to be marketing right now, to be advertising right now. I think there's some great things, like there's some great ways to build your brand. There's some great ways to communicate with people without their traditional kind of marketing. So we did a video about how people are looking at homes through the 3D tours that we're doing. We put together like a 30 or 40-second video on that. And I built a branding campaign, so a brand recognition campaign on social media where we were running that video. And man, like we had 7,800 impressions in the first 7 days, and we were running it at like $2 a day.
That's awesome.
The impressions were off the charts. But I would say that people don't look at that as traditional marketing. They look at that as, okay, real estate's different now. Anthony and his team are kind of giving us an update of how that is. The best thing that you can be doing right now with your database is just check in with them. If you have a past client that you used to play hockey with, or a past client or someone in your database that owns a coffee shop down the street, the best thing you can do is call them up and say, hey, Joe, Anthony here, just want to check in, see how everything's doing. I know you got the kids at home. How you making out? And then, say, listen, man, I can't wait until we can get back on the rink, get back on the ice. I can't wait till I can get back in your coffee shop and get my favorite light roast again. Can't wait to see you in person again. I think that is a super, super, super effective way of touching your database right now. One thing that I did personally is I went through my entire Facebook list, and anyone that I saw that had been away and had come back, that was because, people were posting, back home safely in Halifax, headed into my 14 days of quarantine. I was shooting them a message on social media, give them a call, send them a text, said, hey, listen, I saw that you just got back, wanted to check in. I'm sure you have lots of friends and family around, but if you need something dropped off, I'm still out, I'm still around, I'm still showing homes, we're still running our business. If you need anything dropped off, just let me know. I'm by your house all the time. What can I do to help out? I think now there's so many people that have this fearful mindset, and it's a scary time. But I think if you take that fearful mindset and you switch it around to, okay, how can I bring tremendous amounts of value to people in my life right now, to my clients right now, to people in my database? All I want to do is help people, bring value. That might not pay off tomorrow. That might not pay off this week or next month, but at some time down the road, guys, that will pay off. Do more today than you're paid for, and a day will come where you get paid for more than you do. I firmly, firmly, firmly believe that.
That's an incredible statement, I think, in any market, especially this one. When you create these types of connections with people, they're everlasting connections, and it's the help that you offer them, and it's the small things that you do that are really big down the line. And like you said, it's just create those connections as much as you can.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a time to sell. It's not a time to push. This is not a time where we're gonna get anybody into a sale because we should convince them this is the right time. If it's not the right time for them, it's certainly not the right time at all. But create those connections that where you be of service and provide be the consultant and be the helper and be provider in terms of information as much as you can. I like that. I like that very much. Tenant wants to leave a question for Navita. Tenant wants to leave a few months before lease end. Do they still have to pay rent for the rest of the lease term? So they want to leave a few months before the lease end. Do they still have to pay the rent? This is a really, really weird time. I mean, typically they would have had to have paid, but what would happen in a scenario like this, in your opinion?
So here they would have had to pay, but unfortunately now there's not really any ramifications, not really any way of going after them if they don't.
Right.
So if a tenant left halfway through a month right now and hadn't paid me, there'd be very little that I could do about that right now, unfortunately.
So it's interesting that, I follow a lot of these entrepreneurs, and Kevin O'Leary, I'm sure you know Kevin O'Leary from the O'Leary Fund, from Shark Tank and from other shows. So he went out to all of his smaller businesses. So these are businesses that he owns, very small, shares in. And he told every single one of them, call your landlords and tell them the next 3 months you're not going to pay them rent. And if they want, they can sue you. That's literally what he said to every single one of their small businesses, to go to the landlords and literally say this. And what he's telling him is, just add my 3 rents on top of our agreement, so it's going to extend by 3 months. But we have to understand that in a scenario like this, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm saying that they're being fed this info from many people. There's been in Toronto, I don't know if you've seen this, Anthony, Toronto, there were signs everywhere, skip your rent in April. And it's just getting so out of hand. It is getting so out of hand that people are kind of seeing this and saying, hey, I need to skip my rent for that month. And this is what's causing a lot of these problems. And now to answer Navita's question, I mean, in the event that, let's say, they don't really pay you, they should, but they don't. The first thing that we can do is really take into court. But then when all this ends and when the courts come back, they're going to be so flooded with so many things that how long is it going to take for us to get this money back? Is it worth fighting? Is it worth submitting through? That's something that each individual will have to decide at that point. But that's the kind of market we're in right now, and that's what we have to kind of go with.
And
I
I
hope
think
that
you can go back there a little bit, because I think, if you're bringing tremendous amounts of value to your tenants, if you're doing everything that you can to help your tenants out, if you're dropping off toilet paper at all your rental properties, if you're
right.
doing all these things, a tenant's not going to leave halfway through their month. So I think, like, we need to again change the mindset a little bit. Instead of being fearful that tenants are going to leave halfway through their month, let's bring tremendous amounts of value. Let's give so much of ourselves to them that there's no way that they would possibly leave halfway through the month.
Yes, and this is something that a lot of us that have investor clients that we should be feeding some of that information to, and saying, hey, here's some ways that you can get on the good side of your tenants so that they're not willing to do this, because at the end of the day, they're people. They are regular people. They're not willingly going to screw you, but they are that type that may follow somebody. And if I don't have a connection with that individual, then they might do that to me. But if I have any kind of connection with that individual, there's a much less likelier chance that happens as well. I like the way that you're thinking, Anthony, because you're looking at how can I create that connection so that these small things don't affect my tenants, because they're not going to be wanting to do this to me because of the connection we have.
And I'll tell you guys, so for anyone on the call that owns rental properties, if there are any out there, if I've never had one of my tenants leave a rental property that I own that hasn't bought a house with me in my whole real estate career, because I treat them great. I give as much of myself. If you own rental properties, tenants are your clients. Yes, they can be a pain. Yes, they can be a headache, but they're clients. And at the end of the day, if you treat them well, they're going to turn into a real estate client, ideally at the end of the day. Rita had a great question here, and I love this question. Can I read this one out?
Please, yeah.
So it says, apart from past clients and internet leads, should we be sending out printed material to our farm area? That's a great question. I'm going to say yes.
Where's that question, by the way? Sorry, I don't
it's over in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Okay, I didn't see that question. Truly apologize. And that's an awesome question.
This isn't my first Zoom call this week. I think you should be, but again, I think you have to change the message. You have to change the dialogue. You have to change the tone of these things. So continue pumping stuff out to your farm area, because you've built such a great base. So anyone that's been farming a neighborhood or farming a geographical area for any length of time has built up this perceived rapport with the people that live there. So if all of a sudden now, because of COVID-19, we're in this global pandemic, you just stop sending stuff out, people are going to notice. I think you need to change. So instead of sending out the traditional, spring homeowner newsletter or 15 things to do to your backyard, because guys, that's not what people have on their minds right now. I think we need to change the message. So send out, that the local superstore has changed their hours. They're now doing 7 till 8 a.m. for people that are high risk.
Right.
Or, the school down the street is doing a food drive or whatever your community is doing, whatever is happening in your farm area that people need to know about. Change the message on your mailouts, change the tone of them to not being real estate specific information, but maybe more of like stuff that's going to help them through this.
There is one thing that my brother did, is he put together a PDF with activities kids can do, because kids are at home, you know that. And things that the kids can do to stay busy. He created a PDF and a bunch of different, activities they can do, as well as websites. Like there's a lot of zoos that have actually opened up online viewing facilities where they can go and look at all the animals online. It's actually pretty cool. I went out there myself. I'm like, oh, that's maybe even a better experience than even going inside. Mm-hmm. But those are just some of those things that you may provide even links to. So instead of sending, that regular update on the neighborhood, really that might be another thing. Would you be able to share, so for your video, would you be able to willing to share the video with us that you did, the one that you shared online with your 30-second one?
I can't, because I can't share my screen. Oh yeah, I can. Here you go.
Yeah.
You can see my screen there, can you?
Yep.
Yep.
So this is one that we ran. That's just like a happy Easter one that we ran over Easter weekend. So these are fun things that people can do at home over Easter weekend.
Okay.
So we did that one. That was one we ran, again, just $2 a day. And we did that one a couple days before Easter, leading up to Easter. And then this is the big one that we've been running that we've been getting really good feedback on. Oh, this one's a minute, I lied to you.
That's awesome.
That's too cool, eh?
Yeah, it really shows, I mean, really shows a little bit of a, here's how the market is, here's what we're doing, and we're still doing transactions. So again, it says to those that have to transact that you are capable and willing. And I like the message. I like the message as well.
So we did that one. I'll show you one other one that we did that I ran on my personal page. And then I have a good idea for anyone on this call that wants to do something quick like this. But like the big thing now is like everyone that's an essential worker that's out there, nurses, pharmacists, we owe these people a huge amount of gratitude, a huge amount of just pure thank you. So
Yeah.
we put together, man, the internet is slow these days.
Everybody's at home.
Oh, man. But I guess that's good because we're getting cheaper online leads.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just post too much.
Fairly active.
I'll show you one really easy thing that you can do. So check this out. So this took a little bit of editing to do.
Okay.
But this got a huge response.
Thank you to all the essential workers out there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. From the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
So in this case, you went to some of your clients and asked to send a thank you message in a video?
So what I did was I sent an invite out to every agent in my office.
Okay.
To send me oh, hang on out. There's my kid that's gym class today.
Nice.
So I sent out an invitation to every agent in our Dartmouth office. So I work out of a satellite office of our brokerage. To send me a 1-second video of them saying thank you, and then I edited it into that video. That got a great response. But I'll tell you, for anyone that wants to do like a really easy, really simple social media initiative, on your business page, start like a coloring contest or a drawing contest, but get everyone that follows you on social media, get them to get their kids to draw a picture thanking the essential workers, take a picture of it, post it on your page or tag your page on Facebook, and then do a random draw for like $100 gift card to a local business. That will get great exposure online.
That's awesome. I really like that. When it comes to, I know there's some other questions that are on here. Anthony who? So I know you've introduced yourself, but I'd love to have introduce yourself again. I know if there's anybody that wants to send referrals out your way, they have somebody moving. Can you give us how do people reach out to you?
Sure. So I mean, and listen, guys, like if there's anything at all that I can do to help you through this time, to help anyone that you know, to help you with your business, like don't be shy, reach out. All I want to do is bring tremendous amounts of value to the people that I know, to the people that I interact with on a daily basis. And now you guys are all on that list. So anything at all that I can do, drop me a line, call me, text me. If you call me, you're not always going to get me. Text is best, 902-240-4222. Anthony at askanthony.ca is a great way to get me by email, and connect with me on social media, guys. Send me a friend request. If nothing else, you get to see pictures of my cute kids all the time. But no, like anything that I can do at all, reach out.
That's awesome. Appreciate that. And Anthony's always been, very socially active and very willing to help. And truly appreciate your time, Anthony, today. I know there's some other questions that are on here. Do you have a few more minutes to answer a few questions?
Yeah, I got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't want to take too much of your time. So we have Michelle Alton. What would be the best way to market condo that needs to be leased? So a lease right now, if we have a lease.
That's a tricky one. I think like the 3D tour. I think that's got to be it. People have to be able to feel like they can be exposed to the property without actually being in it. I think that's driving a lot of traffic.
Awesome. So it's essentially the same thing as a sale. You want to do as much as you can from a virtual tour perspective and provide as much as from a pictures perspective. So those that are looking to lease right now are being informed of it. That's awesome.
You did mention that it will be empty on the 1st. So it'll be vacant as of the 1st of May.
So if it's vacant, the only problem that I might foresee here is I'm not sure how many buyer or agents that are willing to actually show lease properties right now. And you guys might know this yourselves. I mean, unless this is a client of yours that you want to help out, and you know them, you're going to show the property. But I'm not sure how many leases are looking for those agents that actually currently have properties that they want to lease out. Are you showing the property to them if they want to see them, even if it's vacant? Like, what's kind of the scenario there? That would be limited a little bit, I think, right?
I think also is kind of similar to how they're doing the agreements beforehand. Is with leases, there is the approval process with respect to their credit ratings and their employment. So all those documents, the supporting documents, is to make sure that the actual landlord accepts those supporting documents before you expose yourself and go look at a property. The landlord is never going to accept that tenant. Why go show the property? Right,
makes sense. Are you posting on your business page and sharing on your personal? So I mean, some of the posts that Anthony made were posted directly on his business page, where he do also the ads from. Right, Anthony, on your personal side, who does your social media? I mean, do you, or there was also a question, who do you have make these ads for you? Who do you have make the videos?
Right now, I'm making the videos. It's not something that I love to do. I don't have this attention for detail, like stuff like that. Like, I like to do things, get things done really quickly, and just be done with it. But I also see this as an amazing opportunity to grow. Like, I want to learn. I'm doing at least one webinar a day. I've been presenting on 1 or 2 webinars a week. I've been trying to consume at least one book every couple of days. Like, it's an amazing time to work on your business. We spend so much time working in our business. We spend so much time showing homes, going on listing presentations, making the calls, so much time working in the business that we don't always spend the right amount of time working on our business. So this is a great time to have a look at your business plan, see where you're at, see where you want to be. What are your goals? What do you want to change about your business? It's such a great time to work on those things, and such a great time to consume knowledge. Like, look at, like, we're doing a webinar today. The Kathleen Blacks, the Richard Robbins of the world, like, all these people have opened up their playbook completely free. They're doing at least one webinar a day. There's so much content to be consumed. Like, take this time. I believe that the worse a situation gets. So tell you guys really quickly, I was hit by a minivan and paralyzed when I was 24. So I was walking up the side of the road. Guy hit me from behind with his minivan. I flipped up over his hood and went through his windshield. Best thing that ever happened to me. I had the opportunity to learn more about life in the last 11 years than most people get to learn in their entire lifetime. And that's no matter what we're going through, no matter how bad things get, because COVID-19 it's a terrible thing. It's a global pandemic. But there are amazing things that can come out of stuff like this. I promise you. You can learn and grow and become a better husband, a better spouse, a better parent, a better partner, a better business owner. You can work on so much of your makeup during a time like this, and just change your paradigm, change your mindset. Don't have that fearful mindset. Don't be the person running through the store, grabbing all the toilet paper off the shelf. I didn't think so. It was kind of like cheesy and gimmicky, but I started leaving 4 rolls of toilet paper with every closing. So we had this big thing like Halifax sold out of toilet paper. There's nowhere to get toilet paper. There was pictures of people with shopping carts full of toilet paper all over the social media. So I decided to change the narrative a little bit. And I decided that I was going to buy some extra toilet paper and I was going to leave stacks of toilet paper in every house that closed for our clients. And it was a little bit gimmicky, but it was also that, what can I do to help people? How can I help them? What value can I bring to them? It's a completely different way of thinking.
Anthony, I really appreciate your time. I'm going to hit you up with one last question. It's a very quick one. iGuide versus Matterport. Which do you pick?
Ooh, I would say Matterport. I like the way the software works. I like the way that you walk through from circle to circle. iGuide, there's nothing wrong with iGuide. Maybe it's just that we use Matterport. I'm a little bit more familiar with it.
Okay.
But I have used both, and if I had to pick one, I would say Matterport.
Awesome. Last one. Can I still drop my flyers door to door now?
I think they're getting fines. I think the police are fining people if you're door to door right now. I would say no.
Cindy, that is a no on that one, and it's definitely a hard no. I think there's no place right now in Canada or the United States that I know. I don't know about the United States, but I know we're in the markets that we're in the United States fully that they're not allowed at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a no on that. Anthony, I am so thankful for your time. Thank you so much. All of our clients, thank you very much as well, and really appreciate it. And anybody that wants to hit up Anthony Brown on Facebook, he's giving you the contact info. And other than that, really appreciate everything you do.
I'll leave you with one really quick message before we leave. People are always going to buy and sell real estate. Real estate's always going to change hands. I did a presentation last week called Prospering in a Pandemic. So most of you guys would know about the 80-20 rule. There's been books written about it. It's been around for a long time. But I believe that the 80-20 rule is a sliding scale. So in a normal market, things are happening kind of how they should. 20% of the agents do 80% of the business. If you're in a really hot market, like, Halifax in 2012, I think it's more of a 60-40 scale. So 40% of the agents do 60% of the business. Now, fast forward to now, we're in a global pandemic. I think we're sliding into like a 95-5 rule. I think 5% of agents right now are going to do 95% of the business. And if you create that mindset, if you create that culture of giving, of bringing value, of doing more today than you're going to get paid for today, I think you're going to succeed. You'll be in that 5%.
Appreciate that. We're going to leave it at that. Everyone, thank you all so much for your time, and stay safe out there, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for your
Sounds
time.
good.
Have a good one, Anthony.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.